LightSpeed, for those of you who don't know, it's a virtual training platform where like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Cardone, all the big sort of coaches, people in the coaching space, use it as their platform because it's by far the best. Like, they have a fantastic sort of IP where it's interactive material. So from like a learning perspective, like it makes the learning journey much easier. And we use it at 7th level, which is how we got to know Brad and all that kind of stuff. I told Brad, I'm like, hey man, I'm coming to, I messaged him, because I'd talked to him on the phone and stuff like that. I messaged him, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in the States from these times, can I be on the podcast? He's like, yeah dude, come on in. So we booked that in, it's in Vegas. I have to go on there, and I have to talk about something very specific that's gonna get Brad super engaged and engage with the people that no one else is. Like, there's been plenty of sales guys on there. I was like, I can't be the sales guy. I was like, but there's not many people that understand sales processes and the systems behind that as well as I do. At least not be able to articulate it quite as well as I can. So I spoke to Marco, and I was like, all right man, what's the play here? What are we gonna do? And so I figured like what I'll talk about is like the marriage between marketing and sales, and like the different ways you have to think of it in order to get the right outcome, right? So you've got marketing guys, they're always trying to like punch everybody through. Then you got sales guys, they're trying to punch everyone through. And then you get the sales team going like, man, the leads suck. And you get the marketing team going, no, the sales team sucks. And then you get this poor delivery team in the background that's just trying to make sense of it all and saying, oh, you're selling the wrong people, or there's too many people, not enough people coming through. It becomes a whole thing, right? So what we've sort of learned over the past little while is like, there needs to be better communication between the two. And if you're gonna, like, if your marketing is gonna push everyone through, your sales process has to push them out, right? Otherwise you end up with way too many shit people, and then you end up with a sales process down here with like requiring too many people and none of them make any money, right? Or you push everyone out in your marketing, which means that you have a sales process which pushes everyone through, because presumably the people who are down here are good and they're the right fit. So you need to maximize all the opportunity. And that conversation never happens, right? So when we come on, I figure all that out, and that's part of our audit, and we do that, right? And that's why we produce really high return of ad spends, and why we staff correctly for the amount of leads coming through, depending on the process that we dictate. So I started talking about this, and Brad was like, fucking tell you more about this. Because they haven't really done any marketing, ever. And their sales team is underperforming, even though their product is fucking phenomenal, and they still make a ton of money. But they make a ton of money because they just have a fantastic product, and Brad is the personality that he is, right? We got to the sort of halfway through the podcast, and he's like, all right, we need to, at the end of this podcast, we will go away and we will chat about you helping me out with LightSpeed. I was like, perfect. That is the exact box I wanted ticked. That is on the podcast. And finished the podcast, and I'm like, yeah, I bought the domain crushsales.net. So I was like, hey, if you want help with this, crushsales.net, crushsales.net, crushsales.net. It goes there, it's got like an ROI calculator, puts them into an application to work for us for done for you. We'll get 200 applications from that podcast, right? I knew some of the struggles they'd had because we tried to work with them before in another side project, but it just never got off the ground. And what I kind of realized, we sat with Brad and Jason for 7 hours, and we kind of dissected everything that's been happening from growth to operations, and like we figured out like they basically have no middle management. So they have all these doers, and they have these top 2 guys being pulled in different directions, trying to, like, you know, Brad's got all these fantastic ideas, like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this. But he walks into a room and goes, hey guys, this is what we're going to do, woo! And then walks out, right? And there's like a wake of devastation behind him. And that's because that's who he is, which is amazing. But you have to be able to channel that, you know what I mean? And then have an operational build out that you can actually like tangibly get some KPIs and like some progress. So the way I described it was like the business was like a bottle rocket with no fins. Just a bunch of people working really hard, but there's no direction to it. So like it doesn't really drive like it should. Like LightSpeed's been around for 20 years. Some of their competitors are now worth $2 billion, right? And they're nowhere near as good. So it's like, okay, like my plan, and this is kind of what I presented to them. I was like, we will operationally build out your entire company from like staffing, roles, responsibilities, project management software, everything, right? We'll build that out, because without that, like scalability is non-existent. So we have that functionality in the business because we hired an expert to do it for us. And then we absorbed that capability when we basically bought him out and brought him internal. So we're doing the same thing there at LightSpeed. And then from there, we're coordinating all that. We're redoing the marketing because like we have Sniper Media. So Sniper Media is coming in to redo all the marketing. Sniper Operations is redoing the thing, and then I'm redoing all the sales processes, all the scripting, everything from like when is it lead generated to where they go, how they're disseminated, because like sales structures are different depending on where they come from. It's like, you know, like you're just not going to treat a TikTok lead the same you would an email lead, the same you would a referral. It's just, you don't do that, right? Basically functionally running that business, right? Under like the guidance and the vision of Brad and Jason. And they're really good to work with. And so that took us like 7 hours to negotiate that deal. I came back the next day, closed it all up, presented the offer. Me, Marco, and Will worked all night on like, this is what we're gonna do. Presented it, locked the deal up, signed. I was like, hey, you're gonna give me $1 as like a, because you know what I mean, as like a thing. So they gave me the $1. I have it in the office, right? That's how we started it. And then what will eventually happen is we will literally take that business over, and then we will probably have some sort of equity stake or something in it, and we're going to grow it so we can sell it. All right, let's go back to work.